Hi everyone, Andrea here with a tutorial on how to make this cute interactive card. This was a make and take, and I gave many of you this card to take home and make, and I wanted to make a follow-up video. So this is the follow-up video on what your kit contents include, the supplies you need, and how to make the card. It's super easy. It's a fun interactive card. I cut this card on my AccuCut with one of the AccuCut dies. And the die actually cuts the mats too. These black mats was also cut on the AccuCut machine. So we're going to go over the kit contents. Your kit contents include the pre-stamped sentiment that's already on a die cut, and then some red and white baker's twine, 1 gem, 3 pre-cut flowers, a large, a medium, and a small, an envelope which has your contents for the black mat. So your black pieces that are pre-sprayed with silver glitter dust include 4 small rectangle cuts, 2 medium rectangle cuts, 1 shorter, wider rectangle cut, and then 2 strip cuts. And then your kit also includes the card base. This kit assembles really quick. It's super easy to make. Now you're going to see on the sample, I used glitter on my flower. This is optional. The glitter is not included in your kit. The glitter I use is from Art Glitter. It's ruby red. And I also use the Tim Holtz Festive Berries Distress Glitter. Any glitter will do. I just grabbed 2 different red glitters. And I wanted them to be a little bit contrasting so you get a little bit more dimension and appearance in the card. We are going to go over the supply list next. It's time to go over the tools and supplies that you will need to assemble the card. You're going to want some wet wipes, and then I'm using my liquid adhesive. You're going to want a liquid glue to apply the glitter. The 2 glitters that I mentioned, the Art Glitter Ruby Red and the Distress Glitter Festive Berries. I also recommend using the mono liquid adhesive in the green and white tube. This will help when you are layering your flowers if you're going to use the glitter. This glue is really good for sticking things to glitter. It's like a tacky glue. You're going to want some double-sided foam adhesive, a little scrap of cardstock or copier paper. This is my palette for my glue. I used my tweezers, my scissors, and then you're going to want a paintbrush. This is to apply the glue. I don't recommend using your best paintbrush. Use a paintbrush that you're not attached to. And then a sheet of copier paper or some type of a work surface so that you can brush the glue on your flowers. And then you also want to make sure that it is pliable so that you can stick the glitter back in the container. I'm going to add the glitter as one of the last steps. That way I don't end up with red glitter, hopefully everywhere. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these panels onto my card. And you can just pull this out and expose all of the gray cardstock. These little rectangles are going to fit right on the side panels there, and I'm just going to add a little bit of glue on the back side of all these and center these panels. Add all the glitter sprayed cardstock panels to the front of the card base and then set aside. Right, your card is now completed with the mats. Next, I'm going to be assembling the sentiment, and I'm just going to take my baker's twine and fold it over itself so it's doubled, and I'm going to thread from behind through the hole, and I'm going to tie a knot at the top. so that the twine doesn't pull through. And you might have to tie 2 knots to make it so that the knot doesn't pull through the hole. Once I have that secure, I will thread through the back side through the second hole. And then you can tape the back if you want. I'm just going to add some double-sided adhesive to the back side. And then I'm just going to trim these ends a little bit. And the sentiment is all set. I'll set that aside. Now it's time to add the glitter to our flowers. And how I like to do this is I'm going to take some scratch paper and I'm going to squeeze, actually I'm just going to pour a little bit of glue out. I used the same glitter on the large flower and the small flower, and I brushed the glue onto the cardstock. You can actually, if you want to, not put glue in the center and just do the petals. It's completely up to you. And then once I have the front covered in glue, I pour some of my glitter onto the copier paper, and then I tap that front with the sticky glue into the glitter. You can lightly tap off the excess glitter. I also do that in a later step. And then repeat with the small flower. And then that way you can use that glitter that's already poured onto your paper. If you find that you missed some areas with the glue, you can just take your brush and lightly dip it in and brush over and then dip it back into the glitter. I've done that before on numerous occasions. To help me keep my work surface a little bit cleaner, I typically fold the copier paper in half so that the sticky part from the glue on the first layers doesn't interfere with my last layer. And then I'm just repeating the same step on the middle flower. I'm brushing on the glue, and then I will pour this glitter onto the flower and then kind of press it in a little bit because this is microfine, and then shake it off a little bit. An alternative to keeping an open cup of water at your workstation is to keep some wipes available. And then what I do is I try and wipe off as much of the glue from the brush. And then I actually take the wipe and wrap it around the bristles just to keep it moist. And when I'm done with the card, I'll then go to the sink and rinse all the glue out. This way I don't have to get up and down while I'm working on the project, and it helps me preserve the brush. At this point, I'm just trying to press the glitter into the glue and the cardstock and tapping it off a little to get any of the excess pieces or loose pieces removed from the flower. Now it's time to build our flower, and you're going to want a little bit of that mono liquid glue. And I was extremely generous with the glue. I got a little carried away. You don't need that much, but you do want to use that glue to glue your foam squares. So apply a little bit of the glue and then add your foam squares, and then you can add your middle flower on top and just rotate the petals so that it helps make the flower look nice and full. Now it's time to finish the flower. I take the small flower and add the foam adhesives to the back center of the small flower. Once I remove the backing and expose the adhesive on the dimensionals, I then take a little bit of that mono liquid glue and add a little drop or two behind it so that it will stick to the glitter on the middle flower. and just turn your flower until you're happy with how it looks in the fullness of the petals. Lastly, for the flower, you're going to add the gem in the center, remove the gem from the acetate, and then add a little drop of the mono liquid glue behind it and stick that to the center of your flower. Now it's time to add the flower and the sentiment and finalize the card. You're going to want to add those two pieces when the card is completely closed. And so it should be in an A2 size. This will give you the canvas that you need to know that your flower and your sentiment are on the A2 canvas and not overhanging and will fit in your envelope. I hope you found this tutorial helpful and that you love your card. Thanks for supporting Crafts on the Move, and until next time, happy crafting!